Okay, this is Mike Munter, and in this video, I'm going to describe our process for getting content approved by our clients and then publishing it to their WordPress website and properly optimizing it before we publish it. So first of all, here's our back-end spreadsheet for our client. And the document that we're going to work on right here is this neuropathy document. I've got my status here. I've already had sent it to my client a few weeks ago and he's approved it. So now we're going to publish it. So the document is stored here. All right. So here's our document. Now we have to actually go and click on the open with Google Docs so that we can get to it and access it. All right. So here it is. Lengthwise, we always aim for about 1,000 words because longer content usually ranks better. And so I'm just going to click on the document and do Control A and then Control C. And then I will come over to my dashboard. And this is going to be, it's a service that he offers, which is treatment for neuropathy. So we're just going to add a new page. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the text mode. And the reason I do this is because Google Docs have some formatting and I don't want any of their formatting in my document. So I'm just going to go to the text mode and hit Control V. And this will copy the entire document into text mode. Then what I do is go to visual mode and perform my editing. All right, so we're going to get rid of this nerve pain because this isn't necessary. Now here's one little glitch that this writer did that I really don't like because it causes me to have to retype things. They put everything in caps. So I don't like that. I'll have to make sure I talk to this writer, but we've got to go back and type this in normal. Whoops. Okay. And of course, there's some headings down here below. I need to do that for also. Okay. So that's our title. I've taken it out of the document itself because we don't want it to be in there twice. Now what I've been doing for Dr. Troy, for this client, is I'm adding an opening call to action. And you can see a sample of that. Here's a page for fibromyalgia. And this is the call to action I'm using. And so I'm going to take that, I'm going to bring that over here and go to the back end, just because I like to work on the back end. It's a little bit easier for a little bit of code I'm going to do here. And I add it. There's a plugin that's pulling the see more stuff, so let's get rid of that. I'm going to put this bit of code in HR, and what that does is that creates a line, which you can't quite see here, but that creates a thin line that you'll see on the finished document. You can see it kind of right there above the picture. And what I like to do then is retype this so that it is fairly unique. So we're going to do this on the fly here. And I try to include the keywords. So obviously we're trying to target, chiropractic, chiropractor, neuropathy, and then have a quick call to action here. And then also we want to mention Vancouver, Washington, which is where his business is located. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's done. I like to italicize it just so that it stands out. And that part is done. All right, so just to review, we'll go back to text here, and you can see that you could have also done that in the back end here. And if you hit the I, that will put the EM around it. So I don't do this for all services, for all clients. This is just something new I'm trying for this particular client because the pages are kind of lengthy. So I want to give people a quick call to action with all the main keywords we're trying to target, which include the service and the location. All right, so back to the main document here, the first thing I like to do is to optimize, is to bold the keyword neuropathy, which we're targeting. And then what we're going to need to do is go back to the Google Doc, and since we stripped out the code, we got to go back and get the links. So these are going to be outbound links that our writers have provided. So we need to click on each one and then just do a copy and paste. And this link was on more than 20 million Americans. So I need to find that here. And a quick way to find it is just go Control F and say more than, and there it is. And then come up, click on the link, and insert the link. You can see there's the link text that we chose. And then whenever we're doing an outbound link, hit the open link in a new window. That way if someone clicks on it, it doesn't take them off of our site. So close that one. And now we want to come back, and here's the next one, which is a Medicare is over 3.5 billion. So I want to grab that link. And that was this is called the anchor text. This Medicare is over 3.5 billion is called anchor text. And again, it defaults now to open link in a new window or tab. So that's done. Usually we won't have more than 3 or 4 outbound links in an article. Okay, here's the next one. This is on the 3 most common. So I'm going to come back up here and say 3 most, and there it is. Check and see exactly. Okay, it's 3 most common medications prescribed. So 3 most common medications prescribed. If you ever make a mistake while you're in the back end, you can always hit the undo button here. Just a quick tip. And let's see. It's probably, that's the last one. Yeah, okay, so there's no other outbound links. So that's good. All right, next thing we're going to do is, I'm a big believer in breaking up your page into what we call editable pieces, and we separate these sections here using H2 tags. Now I have to type this over again. So that's that. I can tell here it looks like this is, here are just some of them. This was probably a section that needed to be bulleted. So let me just move this down. And these are going to be bullet items. Oops. Computer's a little slow. It's not making things too easy for us here. All right, and then so I've highlighted them all, hit the bullet, and for whatever reason, that's not what I wanted. So we're going to undo it. We've got to put a space here first, and then highlight and bullet, and then you have to hit delete and return. Now other ways you could do this from a coding perspective, but this is just really easy. Gives me a better idea what the finished page is going to look like. And all this stuff is important because what you're trying to do is make a really informative and useful page for readers, but have it look nice so that people can find what they want and it flows well. Okay, so that's that. I know that I want to create a space here between for the next H2. So there's H2. All right, coming on down. So here's another section. Those who do not. Let's just see what the writer intended for that. Nerve biopsy. Yeah, so they had bullets, and this looks nice. Bullets along with bold. So that's what I'm going to do here. So that'll become a bulleted. Whoops, see here again it indented, so we've got to put a space before we do the bullets. And I'll say nerve biopsy, and I'll bold that. And then the next item is a skin biopsy. Coming on down, get the next. This is another thing too, really with WordPress. You hit enter and it adds an extra space, an extra line. Sometimes you have to go back and get rid of that. I usually capitalize every word in a title like this. H2. Scroll down a little further. Now we've got the FAQ section. And then what I've been doing on the other pages here is I've been making the questions in this FAQ section italicized. You can see how I did that here. So this is just, a nice way to make it stand out again for the reader. Again, I want to go back and just see what their intention was under the FAQ. So here's these are bullets starting with creams. This time remember to hit a line. There's the bullet. So italicize that. And then the last thing is the summary. And this will be our final H2. So again, all these things, having the keywords in most of these H2 is good for optimization. And at the end of the day, it makes it really nice for the user to understand it and follow it. All right, now the other thing I noticed, and this is something I'm working on with my writers, but these paragraphs, some of them are painfully long. I usually look for 1 to 3 sentences for a paragraph. If I were to publish this right now, these right here, I know that these would be very long blocks. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through and just quickly scan and look for natural places where I could break up the thoughts. And again, it makes it easier for someone to follow. Okay, so this one's really long. I'm trying to make sure, of course, that the thoughts make sense as paragraphs. All right, I don't even know what this means here, this chronicity. Sometimes, even through a final edit, there are things that don't make a lot of sense. All right, so I always look for at the end, try to provide a link to a contact form. Most of the time I do that. I always try to provide a phone number, basically some kind of call to action. In this client's case, he offers a free consultation, so he'll meet with a patient. He'll discuss, the problem and how he would go about treating it and what the cost would be. And then the person at that point can decide whether they want to proceed with care. And of course, at that time, there's a charge if there are any services rendered or x-rays taken. So that's sort of the call to action. So I know that set up a free consultation with us today. And I'm going to link this. This is going to be an internal link. And this is going to go, I'm looking for the contact form. So I can search right here, and there is the contact form. On internal links, I always uncheck this because they're going to be on the same website anyway. Okay, upgrade the health. Call us today. So this writer did a nice job. The only thing he didn't do is include the phone number. So I'm going to do that here. Set up an appointment that will change your life. Okay, so we have covered quite a bit here. Now we're going to go back up to the top, coming down the home stretch. By default, WordPress will add the entire title into the slug here. This gets a little long, for a services page. If this were a blog post, what I might do is just shorten and take out, maybe the stop words like the word for, and I might just make it chiropractic treatment neuropathy. But in this case, I've already got synaptic chiropractic, so I've got the word chiropractic in the domain name. And so I'm just going to shorten this to neuropathy, nerve pain, and that'll take care of it, make it really nice and easy. All right, so that'll convert to page attributes. And I'm going to put it under, this is for the navigation on the website. It appears under the conditions because neuropathy is a condition. The template is a default template. And then we want to come down here and do a little SEO. And so here's the title tag and the description. I'm using the SEO Ultimate plugin for this. And I like to go over and use a page I've already been working on, so I'm going to go back to the fibromyalgia page. Now for a title, you always want to try to get, for a local business, you want to try to get the keyword and the location in the title. And you'll see how I'm doing this so that he can rank. Okay, so I'm just going to make it easy. Control A, Control C. Come back over here. This is waiting. Control V. And obviously it's not fibromyalgia, it's neuropathy. So this is what's going to appear in a search engine result. If someone were to Google it and find this page, it would say as a title, Neuropathy Chiropractic Care, Vancouver, Washington. You can see here you've entered 44 characters. Search engines use up to 70. So let's go ahead and add the zip code, since there's a little bit more room there for that. That way, if somebody searches for it by zip code, they might find that. And so we're still only using 50 out of 70. So there's plenty of room there. Then we'll come back and get a description. I like to use descriptions because it helps with clickability. So if someone sees this in search results, we're going to reiterate the keyword, the location, the call to action, so that someone is more likely to click on this search result. So here we got Vancouver, Washington, neuropathy. Symptoms can be treated. I know that he likes to use cared for as opposed to treated. So we're going to say it can be cared for by, and this time I'm going to say a little bit differently, chiropractor Dr. Troy Dreiling. And you can see here again 137 of 140 characters. So you want to stay below that. And then I've got the phone number so that people could just call the phone without even actually clicking on the search result. Okay, so our next thing is now we need to go to get an image. I know that we're looking for a picture for nerve pain. So I've got an account here with 123RF, place where you can buy stock images and photos. For the image, I know that he wants to target women, so I try to get a picture with a woman. You see here I couldn't really find anything, so I just chose this generic document. I know that this image is, well, I'll show you how we find the size of it. If you go to Inspect Element, which is a right click while you're in Google Chrome, you have to come down a little bit so it's actually visible on the page. And there you can see real quick 302 by about 200. Doesn't need to be exactly the same, but I'm trying to get something that's in the same ballpark so that these pages all have a uniformity to them. So I'm going to look for something. I know that 123RF doesn't have anything that's quite that small. And so I'm actually just going to use this picture right here. I think this is fine. Sometimes I get pretty anal about the pictures that I use, but this one will work just fine. Okay, so we can buy 450 by 411. And we're going to come on down and download it. And there's the downloaded file. Now I've opened it in Microsoft Picture Manager, and I'm going to edit it. And what I want to do is I want to just crop it a little bit so that it's more of a horizontal picture. Bring this up just a little bit. And then we'll resize it and get it down to that width. You see the size here changing, 437. I'm just watching until that gets down to around 300. Okay, that's good enough. Now I'm going to file and save this as woman with nerve pain. So just describe and then try to put your keyword in the document, but don't do it at the expense of describing what the picture actually is. This is a woman with nerve pain, which also could be known as neuropathy. Come back over here, and we'll go back up to the top. And we're inserting all the images right before the first word. So click right before neuropathy, go to Add Media, and we're going to upload that file from the desktop. Let's see, it was woman, there it is, woman with nerve pain. The title of the document I don't usually use, but I do take the title and make it the alt tag, which is important for search engines. This is what tells Google what the image is. Make sure it's aligned left, and of course the full size is fine. And insert into page now. And there you can see it's inserted. And at this point, we're ready to publish. There's one more thing I want to show you, but I'm going to publish it in the meantime. Now, while this is publishing, internal linking is very important. It's a good way to keep people on your website longer. It's a good way also to promote your other pages. And as I was looking through this page, I didn't see any mention of other services. I could go back and artificially add them, but let's just say for shits and grins that, you know, there was a line here that said refer to fibromyalgia. Then what I would do is I would highlight fibromyalgia, go get this link for synaptic chiropractic / condition / fibromyalgia, and I would copy and paste that into this page, and that would be an internal link. And that's a great way to promote other services, keep people on your site longer. And often what we do is every once in a while go through the entire site, since we're always publishing content, and look for old pages that could be promoted in a new page. So that's sort of a every month or two process that we go through. As I said, at this time I didn't really see anything. Of course, we have the one internal link for the consultation, so that takes care of that. Now that we have published it, we can take a look at it. I always proof a page and make sure it looks nice and the spacing is good. And as you can see, we scroll down here, we got a nice image in there, our links look good, it's nicely spaced. And if someone were to find this page, you've got a lot of good information and it looks really good. There's no extra spacing or anything that looks out of whack to me. So that page looks really nice. Now we have one problem. We go to conditions, you can see we've got all the conditions listed here, and neuropathy is not on the list. So we got to go back. Just go back to edit page, and what we're going to do is go to appearance and go to menus, and we are going to search all of our pages here for the one on neuropathy. Okay, chiropractic treatment for neuropathy. And there we go. Now, it always adds it to the bottom. Okay, so it's right here. So if you just hover over it, you'll see this little arrow thing. And I like to alphabetize them, and I know I'm going to name it neuropathy. I'm not going to leave all this chiropractic treatment. Now, if you indent it like this, it won't put it on the main menu. It'll put it underneath Parkinson's. So you need to move it over. And I'm going to move it up because it's going to be an N. So carefully drop it in there. Click this little down arrow. And now we can make this go away. And it's just going to say neuropathy now, as you can see. Then you have to save it. And then we'll come out here and look at the site. Get rid of this. This is the other page we had open. Then we'll refresh it. And now if you hover over conditions, you'll see that neuropathy has been added right there below multiple sclerosis. But this site is a unique case. It has, we have a conditions menu which appears on some of the pages. So we're going to choose conditions and select it. And I want to add neuropathy to this page also, this menu also. So again, click check, add to menu, and I'm sure it's added it probably. There it is at the bottom. Click the down arrow, same thing. Pull out neuropathy. And then put it so that it fits alphabetically. And you have to save. If you don't save it, WordPress will prompt you to save it. And that's it. And that conditions menu, I forget where we have that appearing, but it definitely appears somewhere on the site. I'm not going to go and look for it right now, but most of the time you'll just be adding a page to the main navigation. If you have a blog post that you're publishing, you don't have to worry about going through the menu because a blog post automatically will publish to the blog. So you won't have to worry about adding it to the menu. Okay, now that we are done, and I'm going to go grab the actual page, just want to close up our loop here and go back to our spreadsheet where we started. And we're going to put the published URL right there. We're going to say it's done. I'm going to put the date that we published it. And now the document is there and we have the URL so we can share it in social media or email marketing, whatever else we want to do. And that's it. That's how that was a long video, I know, but that's how we managed the complete process of taking the researched and written content from our writers, doing some final edits, publishing it to a WordPress website, fully optimizing it to give it the best chance of ranking in Google when people search for it. And then the last thing, of course, is that I always like to let the clients know that we're working for them. So the last thing I'll do is I'll just send him an email. Just say publish content, and that's done. And that way he can see it and know that we're doing our job. Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. 503-890-6663.